Hey guys, my name's Pat. I'm a vicar in England, in London, Notting Hill, and just wanted to record some thoughts really in response to the tragedy and the injustice that we've all witnessed on our screens and online through the video footage of the brutal murder of George Floyd at the hands of a white policeman over in the States. And I'm sure, like everyone else, I was deeply shocked at seeing that take place on our screens, seeing a man losing his fight for life, his fight for breath, crying out, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe." And it's hard to imagine what that must be like. But our hearts cry out for justice, our hearts cry out that is wrong and that is evil. And we know that to be true. But I guess what I'm wanting to offer in this video is an honest moment, a vulnerable moment of recognizing that I feel that the evil of it and the desire to see a different world, the desire to see justice as a minister, as a pastor of a church, St. Peter's in Notting Hill. I want to lead a community that wants to see change and see transformation and see justice done and a fairer society. But I speak, honestly, coming to you, I speak as a privileged white man. And I guess that's not my fault. That's just the world I've been born into. And I want to, at the outset, recognize that I don't fully understand the issues, and I can't, and I don't believe white people can fully understand the issues or just the implicit structures of racism that exist in our cultures and our societies. But I want to, and I want to go on a journey, and I want to learn more, and I want to be part of a community and a church that wants to learn more and humble ourselves and take a look within ourselves and respond accordingly, because it is so wrong, it is so dark what we've seen take place. But we need to find a place within ourselves. We need to access an emotion and a heart for this that goes beyond just the hashtag moment that we're in right now over these couple of weeks. We need to find a buy-in for this that is going to take on the battle and the fight that will be a long one. I mean, it's been generations and years and decades, hundreds of years, that people have fought for these equal rights that we have as God's children. I mean, what a ridiculous idea that one race is superior to another. I'm a pastor, I'm a Christian, so we believe in all human beings made in the image of God. White, black, yellow, brown, whatever it is, whatever color, whatever race, whatever background, we are equally loved. We are equally valued. We are equally precious in God's sight, which is why it is so wrong and evil when we see life taken on our screens or even off our screens. Any life taken, but this man's life taken, George Floyd's life taken, black lives taken. And I want to understand more just the structures that mean that it keeps happening, and I want to take on that fight, but I need to access more of a heart, more of a passion, more of a compassion for this. And I felt I had a breakthrough moment yesterday, which I offer to you as a thought experiment, which is simply this. I took the funeral of my uncle yesterday, who was a wonderful man, an upright man, a privileged white man, who'd had a wonderful life, and he was a good man. He was a lawyer, a barrister, and then a judge in England, in London, pursuing justice, fighting for justice. And so the scenes involving George Floyd are not scenes that ever would have happened to him, and yet George Floyd was a father, like my uncle was a father. George Floyd, I'm guessing, was an uncle, like my uncle was my uncle, and he was no doubt loved by his nieces, his nephews, in the same way as I loved my uncle. And so yesterday, as I took this funeral and afterwards reflecting on these issues, I thought, I feel compassion, I feel passion, seeing it happening to George Floyd, you know, a black man on our screens. But for me, being honest and confessing and humbling myself, that's not going to be enough. I need to access a different level of emotion for this. I need to imagine it being someone I love, being a member of my family, just as George Floyd was the member of his family, and so many other victims have been members of their families and their communities. So yesterday, the thought experiment I did was to imagine it was my uncle there, on the ground, being knelt on, having the life squeezed out of him, and eventually dying at the hands of injustice. And as I conducted that thought experiment, I let it do the work it needed to do in me, that it needs to do in me, that God needs to do in me, to engage a passion, to engage an emotion, and take me to a different level with these issues that I think we all need to go to, and especially those for whom, just because of our privilege and because of the world we've been born into, the skin we've been born into, that we simply cannot understand without that. And I just commend that thought experiment to you, that look at these scenes, look at that video again of George Floyd. And if that's not enough to move you, and it moves us, but to move you to action and to seek change, then imagine it not just being George Floyd on the floor, but imagine it being your mother, your father, your uncle, your brother, whoever it is that moves you with love and compassion to want to learn, to want to change, to want to seek transformation in our world and in our society. So I hope it's all right to share that thought. I offer that to you in humility as just a starting point of a conversation that I'm keen to have and to go on and to lead my people, my church on. And I hope it's something we can all be part of, because we need to be part of a world that is transformed and changed by the love of God, by the simple truth of God, that He is our Father in heaven and He loves us, and all human beings are made in His image, and He demands equal treatment and equal justice for all. God bless you.